Hello, this is for anybody who has ever been a goal setter and a go-getter that has maybe, sorry, I fumbled, maybe fell off of the wagon like in the first 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, or even 6 months in. You forget what your goals were, they're not important to you anymore. The tools that we're gonna share with you today are gonna help you stay on track.
Yeah.
What are they called, Carissa? What are we talking about today?
We're gonna be talking about a 1-3-5 and a 4-1-1. So should we start with a 1-3-5?
Yes, okay. I think we have to start with talking about the 1-3-5 because it sets up your 4-1-1.
Yep.
And let's just go as simple as we possibly can on this stuff because I've been doing this now for almost 5 years and I still learn every time I make a new 1-3-5 and 4-1-1. I'm still finding ways to go like, oh, well, this is better to do it this way, or I shouldn't do it this way. And so,
well, some goals are just easier to lay out and other ones take a little bit more time to think about how to do it.
You'll see and you'll understand when you start building your 1-3-5, you'll get halfway done with it and then you'll restructure it and then you'll just keep fine-tuning it. And so we want to keep this very surface level, and then if people have questions, they can reach out directly or put something in the comments.
Absolutely.
Okay, so Carissa, what is a 1-3-5?
So let's start with one. What is your one thing?
Okay.
Your one thing is your goal, your overall goal. So to put it simply, we always use fitness and weight loss as an example just because it's the easiest to measure. But let's say I want to lose 50 pounds.
Okay.
So my one goal would be to lose 50 pounds.
Okay, let's also talk about yes, the fitness thing is the easiest way to do this. And remember when we talked about goal setting to now and chunking it down? Mm-hmm. If somebody comes to you and says, Carissa, my goal for this year is to lose 50 pounds, you're probably gonna ask them the same questions that we always ask, which is like, well, and we said this in our last episode, was how much have you lost in a year in your whole life? I've only lost 10 in a year, and that's the most I've ever lost. Okay, then 50 is maybe pushing it, but maybe there's a different number. Maybe your one thing, your first domino, can be a lot more simple and feel more attainable than just 50 pounds. Because like that's a lot. That's kind of going to the 14th domino and trying to push it down.
Yep.
So to somebody who says, I want to lose 50 pounds this year, what could we really make their one thing, their one domino, to be that top piece?
They could say they want to go down a size in clothing. Maybe it's down a pant size or fit into a black dress that's a size smaller than what they're wearing now, or something that's measurable, attainable, right? Because we have to choose we have to choose a SMART goal. So it has to be something that we can measure. So maybe if it's not a scale thing, maybe they're saying they want to fit in a certain dress or a certain size pants or whatever it may be. So you determine your one goal, your goal, that's number one. And then the 3 below that are 3 ways to help you reach that goal. So for fitness or for weight loss, it could be fitness, nutrition, and maybe the third one is your mindset. So maybe you're reading or educating yourself. Maybe it's education. Maybe that can be the third one. So you're educating yourself on all things health, right? So those could be your 3.
So for your 3, you could do, you were saying exercise, diet.
Fitness, diet, and you could either do mindset or education for your last one.
Okay, let's say exercise.
You'll notice that whenever you do this activity, usually the third one is the hardest one to come up with. The first 2 seem to be a little bit more obvious, at least when we've done this. And the third one takes some time to think about what truly makes sense. And then perhaps maybe you adjust the first and second to make that third.
Perfect. So then what we're going to do is, now that we have our 3 things, right? So we already did our 1, which is we're going to just use the lose 50 pounds as the top one. Yeah. However, I would encourage you to chunk that down into something even more simple. But for the sake of the conversation, let's just say you put it at 50 pounds. Your 3 things are going to be exercising properly, the correct diet and nutrition, and then the third thing is going to be continuing education around best practices for living a healthy lifestyle. Now we need to create 5 bullet points or 5 emphasis points that we're going to really focus on throughout the year. below each category, okay? So
Sure.
exercise is gonna have 5, diet is going to have 5, and education is going to have 5. So we need to think of 5 things in the exercise column that we can focus on this year. So maybe it's cardio twice a week. Maybe it's actually 3. This is all just
we're just making this
throwing
up
this
as
out
we go.
okay? And then maybe it's walk the
weightlifting.
dog every day.
Yep. And then the third one could be weightlifting.
The third one could be
when you're
weight
not.
training.
Yep. Maybe you have a step goal. Maybe your step goal a day is, what do they say?
Let's just-
10,000 steps?
Yeah, good one.
Yeah.
So let's say close the ring on your iPhone or on
Yeah.
your Apple Watch,
Yep.
because I know a lot of people love that and wear those. And then I guess the step thing would go in that. But
Yeah, and then maybe you have like a sit goal, so you're not sitting for longer than an hour at a time. Like you're encouraging yourself to get up from, if you work behind a cube, you're encouraging
Yeah.
yourself to get up, walk around the office, get a drink of water,
which
whatever it is.
which an Apple Watch also does.
Totally.
By the way, this is not sponsored by Apple.
But it just is something that you are aware of and something that you can measure.
Yeah.
And time and step counts and time you're doing cardio and the amount of times you're doing weight training. Like, make sure they're measurable instead of just being like, don't sit for too long. Well, I can't really measure that. What's too
Yeah.
long? How do I define that?
Okay, so we're gonna do.
But if you set an alarm on your phone to alert you every hour, and if you catch yourself not standing within that hour and you're like, oh crap, I haven't gotten up in a while.
I mean, we can even just do like
So.
use stand-up desk.
Yeah.
There. Okay, so we have our 5 things under exercise. It's do
Yep.
cardio twice a week. It's walk the dog every day. It's weight train 3 times a week. It's close all the rings on your Apple Watch and use a stand-up desk.
Yep.
Okay, and then for diet, we're gonna do the same thing. So we're
Yep.
gonna put 5 things down for diet. Let's just knock out a couple of
So
them. Okay?
maybe you have a water goal. You need
Yep.
to drink a
Okay,
certain
drink
amount of
a
water.
certain amount of water every day.
Yep.
Number 2 could be
Vegetable and fruit servings a day, like
okay,
your daily.
fruits and veggies.
Yep.
You are a mom.
Maybe a vitamin goal, like you're
Take
taking
your
your daily
vitamins.
vitamins.
So you guys see where we're going with this, okay?
And then
So
you can eliminate things. So this doesn't always have to be an addition. It can be elimination. So maybe you're eliminating soda, or you're eliminating
yeah.
something that you really like. Maybe it's ice cream or some sugary treat that you're eliminating.
Perfect. So that's what we're doing for diet.
Yep.
And then the third category, which we put education.
Yeah, so you
I
can
think
have
is really important. But
yeah.
let's think, what are some examples?
like a
we could-
podcast. So maybe you're listening to a daily podcast about nutrition or exercise or something around weight loss. And then 2, maybe it's a book that you've heard
Or read like
about
one
and
book
you're
quarterly.
reading.
like-
Yeah.
okay, so like one book quarterly,
Yeah.
focused on health.
Then maybe the third thing, I mean, this can be paired with just like mindset and putting yourself in a good mental place for this goal would be meditation.
Yeah.
Just taking time to breathe. And then maybe you have a trainer at the gym. So that's part of your education.
and getting involved in certain circles and
yeah.
clubs, right? Like,
Or a dietitian, like you're reaching out, you're doing like maybe it's a weekly coaching call or whatever it
Yeah.
could maybe. Wherever you feel you're the weakest in, that education column can support that, which will also help column 1 and 2.
perfect.
Cool.
Okay, so that's really the 1 through 5.
Yep.
It's pretty simple. It can get a little complicated and challenging to fill out, but that's
Yep.
sort of the fun part about it. So what we do with the 1 through 5 when we're done with this is we usually blow it up into a little bit bigger, cleaner, simple, more aesthetically pleasing version than
Yep.
what I have written down here. And then it goes on the wall so we don't forget about it. And I've seen people set it as the background on their phone, the
Yep.
background on their computers. This is going to tie us into the next thing we're going to talk about, which is our 411.
And you guys, this can be like for business or for your personal, like this is a personal life example, but it could be a fun thing. Like your family has a goal to go to Disney World this year. And so that's your one thing. And then you need to do 3 things to make sure that you have enough funds or time or whatever it is to get
Yeah.
to Disney.
And the cool thing, so I love that you just brought that up, because imagine if you have kids and the first item in the 3 level is like their grades, right?
Yeah.
Little Billy and Sarah have to maintain a B average.
Yeah.
Well, they're revisiting that every day because it's sitting there on the wall looking at them.
Yep.
And they know that if they don't hit that, they're not going to Disney. So it just creates
Yeah.
some really nice accountability too.
Oh, totally. And it teaches them, like you're modeling what it looks like to set a goal and reach it.
Yeah.
Which is super important for our youth.
Yep.
All right,
Awesome.
411.
Okay, so let's talk about a 411. Carissa, what is a 411 and how does it tie into a 135?
I'm going to let you explain this because you taught me what a 411 is and you're really good at it and I don't want to butcher it.
So think about it like this. Your 135 is the big picture.
Yep.
The 411 is that brought down into more of a daily tasks thing, okay? So your 411 is going to be 4 weeks
Yep.
in 1 month. And then your one thing throughout the year. So you're revisiting your 135 daily via your 411, and that
Yep.
is how the two speak to each other. So what does this look like? We will either put it on the screen right here, or, well, let's just put it on the screen right here. And we'll do the 135 too. So maybe put them next to each other so we can show you if we haven't already shown you on the screen.
And if you're listening, we'll be sure to include this in the show notes, or you know how to reach out to us on social media
Yeah.
or by email.
For sure.
We will send you some edible versions of this.
So your 411 is going to look like this. You're going to have, which is kind of backwards because your 4 is really at the bottom, but you're going to have your one thing reiterated at the top, okay? Then we're going to break it down into the one thing for the month, okay? So your top line is going to be year, which is your ultimate goal.
So for the weight loss example, if your goal was to lose 50 pounds, you would do 50 divided by 12, and then whatever that number is your monthly goal. So instead of just
your-
like
50 divided by 12.
The answer is approximately
4.16.
4.1666.
Oh,
Okay.
well, that's cool because that's basically 4 pounds a week.
4 pounds a month.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah. So
Oh, 1 pound a week, I meant.
yeah, yep. Okay, so if we want to lose 50 pounds this year, we have to lose 4.16 pounds per month. Okay, now we're going to break that down into weekly activities. Okay, so what this looks like now is at the bottom of the page, I've got 4 columns. Each column represents a week. So we want to revisit that 135, take a look at these items, and then start to plug them into our weekly habits, because once we plug them into our weekly, then we know what we need to be doing daily.
Yep.
So for example, cardio twice a week, you might write, you know, you're gonna write cardio 2 times on each week. Some of the things that I'll do is I'll put little like check boxes. So if I need to do cardio twice, I'll put cardio twice in every column, so 4
Yep.
times with 2 little boxes. Once I accomplish it, I can check it off.
Yep.
Okay, we're gonna do the same thing for all of these other items as well. And then that's really it. You're basically just creating this calendar that if you follow it and you follow it closely and you revisit it daily, you'll stay on track to hit your ultimate goal.
Yeah. And so if anyone has ever heard of a 66-day challenge, it takes 66 days to develop a habit. And the first couple months of this will be your most challenging, right? It's gonna be, that's why we encourage you to put in the work in writing this all down now. So let's say you're starting after the new year, it's ready to go. We've even used like 1-inch 3-ring binders and have pre-filled all of our papers for the year. And that way it's ready to go and you can go in. If you need to edit things throughout the year, like you can cross it off or do whatever, but at least it's there, it's on paper. And all you need to do is just check off the boxes.
Yep.
So instead of when I look at the 50-pound goal, that to me seems like, okay, wow, 50 pounds, let's go, let's reach for the skies, let's try to do this. But if I don't have a strategy and specific measurable actions and goals that I need to meet to hit that 50 pounds, I'm probably not gonna hit it.
Right.
But 1 pound a week doesn't sound all that bad.
Right.
50 pounds a year sounds like that's a big goal.
Yeah.
But when you break it down, it feels a little bit more attainable. So yeah, I would say after like the 3rd month about is really when you start to get in the flow and it becomes habitual and you know what's on your 411. You don't have to look at it
Yep.
every day.
Yep.
And yeah, it's there for you. So like we said before, I mean, we use this for business. We've also used it for personal goals, but it's also something that you can model for your children. So if they have a goal, maybe it's something within their sports team or dance or school or making something. Maybe they want to make the speech team next year or they want to compete at a certain level. Helping them write out their goal and thinking of ways that they can accomplish that goal is super cool.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And what a fun thing to do. I don't know when this video is going to air, this podcast, but
We're gonna try our best to get it out before the new year.
Yeah, it would be. It's
Because
just like, what do you do between Christmas and New Year's if you celebrate Christmas? Not a whole lot. I mean, some people trickle back to work, but the kids are off on break. This is a great opportunity to be having these conversations as a family.
This is the time that you're reflecting on the previous year and getting ready for the upcoming one. So this is a perfect time to do this.
Yeah.
I've seen people do this in a digital version, so they'll keep it like in a Google sheet or like an Excel sheet.
Do what works for you.
I've seen people print it. Do whatever works. There's no right or wrong, and whatever way is going to keep you on track. And if you get off track, that's okay too. Just use this to get back on. One of the stories that I always think of when I think of this is like, this is supposed to be your atlas, right? Your map, if people still know what an atlas is. And if you are, right, like if you're a pilot, a commercial pilot, you take off and you don't look at your GPS again for an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours, the longer you go without correcting your path, the further off you're going to be.
Sure.
And so it's okay to, you're not going to be perfect, is what I'm getting at. But if you can use this to go, okay, I promised myself I was going to do these things, and you can steer back on track, you can still finish where you need to finish.
Absolutely. And if you have a mentor in your life or in your business, share this with them. Let them know that you're doing this. And we have, when we've had people in our worlds, we've had 411 check-ins. And that's a weekly check-in where we just see how the previous week went, where they're at with their goals and how they're tracking. And again, there's no right or wrong. Yes, people have off weeks, things happen, kids get sick, you go on vacation. There's so many things that happen in a given year. But the check-in is just simply to be like, hey, I'm here. I'm still aware that you set this as your goal. How important is this to you? How are you doing?
Yep.
So if you're a leader out there, I would encourage you to start to use this with the people in your world. And it's a great tool to change people's lives in a big way over time.
Perfect.
All right. I hope you enjoyed this episode.
That's the 135 and the 411. And maybe we'll come up with something great for you next time.
For those in Minnesota, it is negative?
Yeah, we're out in our studio right now and my hands are cold. If you can hear me sniffling, it's because my nose is numb.
I have my hands between my legs because they're really cold.
I went out to plow the driveway.
It's like negative 20.
Really quick, and I had my jeans on. I didn't put snow pants on. And I jumped out of the tractor to move the plow to adjust it, and I almost fell straight to my face because my legs were numb.
It is freezing out. They said we're in a blizzard warning, and apparently tonight the wind is going to be 50 miles an hour, and it's going to be a wind chill of negative 40. Which is insane. So if you're curious as to why we live here, check out our video that we did on Minnesota, or living in Minnesota, the pros and the cons. And you can see all the pros that we had listed. And maybe we need to revisit that video to remind us why we're still here. But yes, it's a cold one out there.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of when I was in college. I went to college in Florida. We would have hurricane parties.
Oh,
where
sure.
We would board up the windows, and you would just stop at the liquor store.
Oh, gosh.
And you would just sit in the house and hope and pray and play games. I kind of feel like it's that, but the complete opposite.
Yeah, totally.
Like everywhere in the news is saying, don't drive, don't go anywhere. If you do, bring a survival kit.
Yeah, like I don't understand the hurricanes. I've never been in one before, and they probably don't understand what a blizzard is, so.
Yep, well, I have both.
Cheers.
Yep.
We should get some. We'll stop at the liquor store today and gear up.
As soon as I'm done with this, we're going to go there.
Yeah.
So with that, thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Yeah. Happy New Year.